Question number 7, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The question is to the Minister of Tertiary Education, Skills and Employment, and reads, on what day was he or his office first notified that Agribusiness Training Limited was seriously under-delivering its contracted teaching hours and or receiving funds to which it had not been entitled?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, actually there are 3 key dates which I can provide to the members. As the member knows, there were 6 tertiary education organisations that were specifically chosen for focus reviews late last year. No substantive issues were found with 5 of the 6 reviews, but on 22nd of January this year, the TEC advised me that the agribusiness targeted review indicated there could be significant under-delivery of teaching hours of the sample programs reviewed. The TEC then engaged Deloitte to investigate Agribusiness Training Limited's programs between 2009 and 2014, and I was advised of its findings after Deloitte reported to the TEC on the 19th of May 2015. I think I was advised in June. Finally, having provided the findings to Agribusiness themselves for a response, the TEC requested repayment on the 23rd of September this year, and I was advised on or around this date.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, given that answer, why did the Minister not disclose to Parliament the name or the nature of the issues at Agribusiness Training Limited when he had known for months about the issues?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, in the interest of natural justice, I think it's important to see the TEC to have the opportunity to engage with the provider and then inform me, and then I was in a position to inform the House.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, why then was public announcement of the liquidation of Agribusiness Training Limited delayed several days until the Friday afternoon after Parliament had risen for the last recess? Or was that just coincidence?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, I reject the insinuation in the member's question, but the point is actually that the liquidation of Agribusiness Limited I believe came as a surprise to both the TEC and to my office, and actually the decision was taken to make a public announcement earlier in response to the liquidation. It wasn't a situation where the liquidation was delayed in any way, shape or form. We were advised it was liquidated and then proceeded to inform the public as quickly as possible as to some of the details once the liquidation was announced.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, given the considerable delay since the Minister was first notified of problems on ABT at 22 January, what action was taken to prevent students being left in the lurch with unfinished qualifications by the failure of this PTE, or to be transferred to other equivalent providers without loss of credit? And if this has not been achieved for all students, why not?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, again, I think the member is mischaracterising that particular January date. But I've actually been through in my primary answer the order of events that occurred. In terms of the liquidation and the impact of that, the NZQA does have a process, which is a very well organised process to protect the interests of students. There's still to be a decision from the liquidator, as I understand, as to whether the organisation will continue to trade. But both NZQA and TEC are continuing to work not only very closely with that organisation, but with other organisations that may be needed to provide further education for the learners to ensure that the things the member is worried about don't actually come to pass.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, when the Tertiary Education Commission selected a sample of providers to be investigated by Deloitte and PwC, what was the threshold for their third criterion, being, quote, high numbers of course and qualification completion rates? And how many providers, in fact, meet that threshold?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, the criteria for the 6 focused reviews were that they had some features in common with those found at Awanuia-Rangi and the Western Institute of Technology. And those were rapid growth of individual courses coupled with unusually high completion rates and a high reliance on subcontracted provision. So it was the 3 things taken together that determined the level of interest in a focused review.
Point of order, the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Speaker, I wish to draw to your attention the overdue reply to
Order.
written parliamentary question 13324-2015 to Minister Joyce in relation to Agribusiness Training Limited.
I'll look
and
into
ask
the
that
matter.
you remind the Minister of his
I'll
obligations
look into the matter.
under standing orders.
Supplementary question, Tracy Martin.
To the Minister, if agribusiness training in Tertiary have been proven to show provider rorts, how confident is he that other providers are not rorting immigration, given 47,000 foreign students have obtained residency here since 2008?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, I think it's a very big stretch from the member that to say just because a number of students have obtained residency in New Zealand that there's by definition, fraud. We actually have around 109,000 international students studying in New Zealand every year, and some of them do go on to obtain residency.
Point of order, Tracy Martin.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I ask the Minister, how confident is he?
I heard what the answer of the question was. Would the member please show it courtesy for the Minister to have time to answer it? Honourable Stephen Joyce to complete the answer.
So, Mr Speaker, I don't think it is unreasonable that there might be that sort of number over that period, given the numbers that are studying here. And I would add for the member that actually many of these students go on to make a considerable contribution to New Zealand, including sometimes marrying the locals.
Question number 8, Ron Mark.
Speaker, my question is to the...
Order.